So this is just a little, another little look. This is an old Vancouver clip, and I'm going to stop it there. You're going to see how the dice moves from side to side. All right, so they're in dice formation. You can see Jannik Hansen here. All right, he's on this wall here. He's sealing the wall, and you can watch the dice move. Goes to the other side, and they all stop. Chris Higgins is now sealing a wall, and you can see them all playing. So that dice can move side to side. Now, we talk about a couple things when we're in D-zone coverage. So you got this dice, you're coming back to the middle, you're in dice, all right, and then you're working your coverages from there. One thing we talk about here is kind of a hit zone, and a support zone. So we've got isolated on Leon Draisaitl because this is a really good clip, especially for coaching. But you can see here, we've got Cody Ceci, our defenseman. He's going in first on the puck. He's going to make this a hit zone. So he wants to hit and stick. All right, that player, and deaden things up so we can bring in guys and we can get it out. So, but keep an eye on Leo here. So there's the hit zone, and Leo is in the support zone, but what happens to him is he gets pushed up against the wall. All right, he gets pushed up against the wall. What should he do? Instead of me just playing it, what should he do? Anybody? Yeah, okay, what does he do? Let's see what Leo does. Great job. He reestablishes D-zone position, right? He's supporting on that other side. He doesn't get himself trapped in there. He establishes D-zone position. Okay, now they win a battle, and they come out. All right, they come out. They win a battle, they outnumber, and they come out. Okay, we're going to take a look at some responsibilities in dice, and I'm going to go through this quick here. Okay, this zone here, I made these two little arrows, and I'll highlight it. So this, I like to talk about this little piece of the pie here in between those two areas, that little bottom piece. I'm not a very good drawer with my hand there, but that little piece of the pie, for me, that's a defenseman's piece of the pie. He can't marry himself to the net or the blue paint. He's got to play off the strong post, and he's got to be able to flex out into that area. All right, so if they throw a puck into this player here, he should be able to flex out. Let's see if Grossi does it. He does, right? I think that piece of pie is for the defenseman. We're going to talk about this piece of pie here now in this dice coverage. There it is. Who occupies that? If they've got an F3 sitting in that area, who do you want to play? Do you want your D coming out all the way out there? That depends what system you're playing. All right? But if you get into dice coverage here, I like this responsibility here where it's that winger. That's his job. His job. Now, if we kept dissecting that circle into pieces of the pie, all right, and we talk about this piece over here, the top other quarter of the pie, whose piece of pie is that? I like to call that just community pie. And I'm just adding this here on the fly with you right there. I like to call that community pie. If the guy scores from there, man, our goalie's got to get it. No? Right? But we can help with that wall guy who's sealing the wall. Maybe he can get his stick in there and make it not so easy. So I have that piece of pie as a little bit of community coverage. And the bottom quarter that's in there, if they get past our layers and they take a shot, that's the goalie's piece. I mean, that's the reason he's got different gear than everybody else. He's got to be able to stop something every now and then. So at the end of the day, that's the goalie's piece of pie if something breaks down and a shot comes from there. So that's just kind of it in a nutshell here of a little bit of what we're looking at. Now we're going to play this next clip, and we're going to talk about just one other piece of coverage. Oh, my bad here. Is if you look at Leon. All right, we talked about his job as a piece of the pie, is that top little quarter, all right? But if there's nobody there, we like to, the half wall intersect, all right? We like to take this away so that there's no free pass up to that weak side D, which then can create a little havoc, especially if the D are playing wide. So we'll have him take that away. So if there's no one in that piece of a pie, he can do another job. Sometimes we refer to that player in this system as a man and a half. He's kind of playing two guys, a man and a half, all right? He's playing both guys, both areas of the pie. So just there's the responsibilities of coming back to dice. And now we're going to get into just a couple other little nuances here on any D-zone coverage. What we like to do is once we're in dice, we want to cut off the bottom and the top of the zone. So this is an example of cutting off the bottom. We do a good job. We're in hit zone, we pin guys, and now we cut off the bottom. All right? Because if you probably heard Pete DeBoer here, I think, doing ozone, if you can switch side and go side to side, if you can play behind the net, all right, it creates space. Okay, it's harder for the defense to defend you. So if you can keep things on one side of the ice, keep your men on one side of the ice, cut off the bottom of the ice, anything behind the net, it helps you play defensively. And you can see, this is when I was coaching Calgary, and that's a joke. And they cut off the bottom well, and they come out. So at the end of the day, the other part of it is cutting off the top. All right, so if you watch Leon here, they get a little bit of motion going. We're in our dice coverage, and he just doesn't let any freebie go to the top, right? He doesn't let any freebie go to the top, because once it goes to the top, it's going east-west, and now we're in different types of motion coverage. So he cuts us off. I'll let this one play. They cut off the bottom. We do a good job, and obviously Leo makes a nice little play, and we're out.